bringing it to them all day. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Win or lose, we bringing it to you always. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Orange or black, we rebuild the pack. No matter where we at, you know we coming back. Section 336, we on this, so tune in. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Yeah, welcome to Birdland. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Now, here come the boys from Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, next generation of Baltimore sports talk. I am your endearingly stuttering host, Matt Soroka. As always, I'm joined by a guy who spent the entire Ravens divisional round game wishing that Joe Flacco was still our quarterback, the button lover Josh Soroka.
That's the first time I've thought of that, is you bringing it up. And sure, it would have been nice to have Joe when no one else can. Yeah, we'll get to that. I wasn't angry when that game ended.
Joe Flacco
I was disappointed, but I've
was
been
known
irritated.
For his playoff, getting hot at the right time, that famous 2012 run. Lamar Jackson seems to be the opposite of that.
Right. No, who was it? Someone this weekend tied Joe for the number of playoff wins or playoff games with two or more touchdowns.
Yeah, I think it was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco. They're in sentences all the time together.
Yeah, you can now start talking about Aaron Rodgers maybe being elite like Joe Flacco.
Right. And we'll get to that. But I was going to tell you, well, first, you got a haircut. So you went out of your house. Or did your wife cut your hair?
No, I took my son needed a haircut, so I said I'm taking him. I'll go too.
They made you get one too. They saw you and said you got to get it too.
Well, and I tell you what, I went there. I had the phone. I have a telephone, and I have an app for Sports Clip. Is there Sports Clips down there in Florida?
There is not. I go to Great Clips.
Oh, Great Clips is everywhere,
clips,
yeah.
But without the TVs. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to Sports Clips, not because I need the TV, but that's the only normal haircuttery or mainstream haircuttery here.
Yep, I go because it's cheap and you can check in on your phone.
Yeah, well, I didn't check on my phone, but you can. But I just saw it was 0 minute wait, so I was like, I'll just drive there and go because it's 0 minute wait.
Don't they still make you check in?
Yeah, well, you got to check in once you get there. But when I showed up, it was a 60-minute wait to check in. I was like, I'm not waiting here for 60 minutes. So I checked in, and then me and the kid went out and did some other things while we were waiting. Yeah,
haircutteries have really innovated thanks to COVID. Compared to the last episode where we talked haircutteries, as we break down haircutteries, they really innovated because of the check-in on the phone. So mine now will check in on the phone, and then it'll send me a text message when you're 7 minutes out. So when I get that text message is when I leave my house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah, I mean, it just so happened, I think right before I rolled in, there was a grandmother and 5 kids who just rolled in.
Kids are the worst because you'll look and it'll be like, oh, there's only one person there to get their hair cut. And then there's 6 kids under the chairs.
Yeah, exactly. And these kids, listen, I'm not knocking the grandmother, but because I can only handle 1 kid at a time. So if I had 5 kids there, I wouldn't be able to handle them either. But they were running just wild at the haircuttery, which seemed like a hazard on a lot of levels. But I let it go and we just walked out.
Okay.
But I got a haircut.
All right. I also waited in a line today.
Okay.
This morning. First thing this morning.
Oh, you got a vaccine. Good for you, Josh.
No vaccine, but you're close. I got tested for the 4th time since March.
Another close encounter.
Another close encounter, yes. Well, not part of it is Mandy treats everything as a close encounter, so I would have ruled this out as not a close encounter.
Yeah.
But
if you wanted to be in the same room with her, you had to go through this.
Yes. So when I was someone I was with in Maryland that I spent all day Monday. When I spent all day Monday with Chad Dukes working on his studio,
right.
And Chad called me last night and said I got COVID. So I did the math and I said, oh, that's 5 days. I'm in the clear. I'm good.
Is that what you do? If you're Chad, you have to call everybody you've been in contact with because you have COVID and have that tough conversation?
No, you're supposed to call anyone that you've been in contact with the past 48 hours.
Okay.
Chad was calling me because he needs to do the podcast from home. So it was a help me out.
Okay.
I need some technical advice.
Yeah.
What mic to order? Can I borrow your squad cast?
Because that would be for me a group text. Hey, group text. Put all the numbers in there. Got COVID.
Right.
I'm not calling people. That's too embarrassing.
So he wasn't calling me to notify me.
Yeah.
He was calling me for some help.
And just in passing, he mentioned. Yeah.
But then Mandy hears that and says, "Oh, that's 5 days ago. You got to go get a test."
Yeah.
And so I explained to her, and I said, "All right, fine. I'll go get the test." So this time I went and got a test at like now how like the state and government have it all set up. I've never done that. I've always gone to my private insurance.
Okay. Yeah.
This time I just said I'm going to go get in the state line. Made an appointment for 9:30. It was amazing. It was a ton of people. They had it all organized like I'm at Walt Disney World, going through lines for
like
keeping
Chick-fil-A
apart. It's as if Chick-fil-A ran the vaccine. I was in and out in like 20 minutes, and there were hundreds of people there.
Yeah.
They had like 20 tables, or I guess it was 40 tables because it was 2 stations of like people just running through, shoving the thing up your nose, moving. And I got a text message in 15 minutes saying I'm in the clear.
Wow.
I was amazed.
Well, when you have so many cases of COVID like you do in Florida, I guess you get good at it.
Well, that was my thought was they really it's been a few months, they've really gotten this down.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know I haven't been tested in Maryland since the beginning of it, so I don't even know
what
the process is like anymore.
Yeah. So I was impressed, and came out negative again. I keep beating that test.
Yeah.
So keep living my life.
You're still allowed to play. You're not going on the COVID list yet.
Nope, not like the Washington Wizards, who are now the team that'd be shut down with the COVID.
Yeah. Well, I want to do this podcast with you if you had COVID.
Right. Well, I'm at least 6 feet away from you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They wouldn't let the Browns coach zoom in any advice. I figure there's a reason for that.
Crap.
So, it must spread electronically in some way.
The reason is the NFL has to rethink some rules. Yeah. One, how to handle that communication issue and not just assume that the guy's going to cheat by watching like the TV feed. And 2, the fumble rolling out of the back of the end zone that screwed the Browns as well on Sunday.
Yeah, that was a couple crazy games. You had Lamar Jackson go out, and then you had Mahomes go out too.
Yeah. When was the last time you saw that? Like a big, and not only like they both went out after like one drive in the second half,
and both concussions, not COVID.
Yeah. Right, and no return.
I was expecting some mid-game COVID, some Justin Turner type World Series.
No.
You have COVID, we have to pull you type. No, it's concussions.
We already had that earlier with the Des Bryant fake COVID. Really, we just don't want you playing against the Cowboys.
Yeah, some Jerry Jones tampering right there.
Exactly.
But yeah, just the old school football injury concussions. That's the classic. And it's kind of comforting. You don't want anyone to get concussed, right? We know the dangers of the brain injuries and stuff. Yeah. But it was nice to not have a COVID injury, but to have an old school football concussion injury.
I don't know.
Though that was a classic. Lamar Jackson was like the whiplash with the back of the head. Yeah. Like that's classic how concussions happen.
Yes. I think that the refs were so distracted by the concussion and the horrible snap that preceded it that they totally missed on calling that flag on a low hit on him.
Yeah, well, don't get me started. The Josh Allen, I'm still mad about the Josh Allen flop. Yeah. This is the NFL. This isn't the NBA. What are you doing flopping out there, Josh Allen? That's so soft. We're just doing the strawberry of the week segment. Josh Allen, you are the strawberry of the week, dude. You get tapped and you fall down because you're that weak.
Oh yeah.
This must be some. All I hear about is this guy is 6'6", 260 pounds. He's like a man back there at quarterback. Guy breathes on him, falls down.
I agree. We should bring back this? Do you think are people too sensitive now for us to bring back the strawberry of the week segment?
People get triggered easily nowadays, Josh.
I mean, yeah. So I even know I've done some realization lately about millennials, and that millennials are now like 30 years old.
Yeah, that's weird.
And as much as millennials were definitely the problem, and now it's this Gen Z.
Yeah.
Or whatever. They're the real problems now.
Oh, yeah. It's all, and once they get to be 30, it's going to be the next generation. It's always the kids.
Well, no. But it's worse because Gen Z learned from the strawberries.
Well, yeah,
from the
and
millennials.
what comes after Z? I don't know. Do we go back to A?
I think it depends what you search on the internet. If you search the right thing, it says the world ends at Gen Z because of Biden. So I'm not sure if they came up with what it is yet.
Okay, Josh. So
Gen
your
Q? Is
website's already filtered to register
Yeah.
that the end of the world happens with Biden. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think
for
it's
your
Gen
searches.
Q.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Hunger Games or something based on DC right now.
Yeah.
I did like that. Someone had a video where they mixed Hunger Game clips and all the National Guard in DC, and I enjoyed that clip. That
Yeah.
made me laugh.
Yeah, certainly.
I
I
don't
mean,
think-
I haven't been down there, but hearing people talk about it,
It's weird.
Apparently, the streets are deserted. Like no one's there except for soldiers everywhere.
Yeah.
But no, we have a ton to talk about this week because
We do.
I want to get into all the Orioles international stuff, the updated top 100 prospects.
All right. Some basic thoughts of the Ravens game.
Yeah, oh yeah, and get into the Ravens.
And hey, did you know there's a brand new Section 336? I meant to text you earlier today to check it out.
No,
It's updated for 2021. Now that it's baseball season, it's all in the clear, and we got a real nice, simple website. And this podcast no longer has ads because listeners have stepped up and signed up
Coconuts.
on Patreon. So we've got some 336ers,
some coconuts.
some coconuts
Yeah.
that joined this week. So we are going ad-free for 2021.
Nice.
Thanks to these guys.
All right.
This week it was Melissa and Tony and Michael that all jumped on board to help us go ad-free.
We appreciate
so
you
we want
guys.
to
Thank
thank
you.
those guys.
Yeah.
And if you want to join us, you can check out the new website, and there's a support tab at the top if you want to help us as we go ad-free in 2021.
Yeah, sweet. No, Josh, I want to talk about how I don't really want to break the game down. Frankly, I've been doing my best to ignore all Ravens talk and commentary. I mean, I know people react differently to losses, and I'm
hate the
fascinated with
extremes.
how people want to talk about it because my reaction, just in general, when there's anything uncomfortable in life, my reaction, and I'm upset about it, is to not talk about it at all and just avoid it and not think about it. And I do have this gift where something terrible can happen in my life, and I can just not think about it, and it's just like it doesn't bother me at all because I don't think about it, no matter what it is. It could be terrible. My wife could leave me, and I would be fine a half hour later because I just would block it out of my mind like it's not real. And that's what I do with the Ravens. Like they lost, and I was upset and sad about it, and then I just like block it out like it never happened. And I ignore talk radio, I ignore Twitter, I ignore it all, and just pretend like my life is okay. Josh, what's your reaction when the Ravens lose a playoff game that they should have won?
The Ravens have pissed me off many times. I've been angry at Raven losses. I was not angry at this loss because it was just like everything. It wasn't even like an everything goes wrong. It was just like bad luck after bad luck. Our defense played excellent. Our defense kept the Bills to 10 points. Justin Tucker never misses field goals, let alone 2 in a game, let alone donking both of them on each side of the goal. You'll never see that by Tucker again. That's just a weird thing.
With the wind, yeah, it was crazy.
That interception, pick six, turnaround in the end zone, that was the game. That flipped the game. We score there. We win the game.
Well, I mean,
the pick six, they win the game.
It's very simple, Josh. Every time I look at it, I can't believe it that we scored 3 points. Like I can't get past that. I don't understand. Like every time I look at the score, I'm surprised. What? We only scored 3?
Right. Because simple little things went wrong.
But you're
bad luck.
But we lost by how many points? We lost by 14 points. And that interception touchdown, 102-yard interception return for touchdown was a 14-point swing. Like that's the game. You're right. That's the game.
And as horrible as that is, the way the Bills were playing, the way our defense was shutting down the Bills, we could have still came back and won that game if we had Lamar for the whole second half. To lose Lamar to a concussion, and you know what? Maybe if we had RG3, maybe if we had Trace McSorley. We were on our 4th string quarterback in a playoff game in Buffalo, and yet somehow I turn on the radio or the internet afterwards, and the talk is Lamar can't win the big game. None of that had to do with anything. Lamar, we didn't learn anything about Lamar in that game.
Yeah.
We may have learned something about our offensive play calling and the balance of run versus pass, but we have the number one run game. Of course, we're going to run a whole lot more.
Oh my gosh, is that what? And I haven't been paying attention, but I'm used to Raven fans complain that we get away from what we do well, get away from the run game.
Right.
Are we now complaining that we pass that we run too much?
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
Stop. You can't do that. When you've been arguing for the past 3 years or whatever,
Right.
you can't just switch your argument. But I will say a couple things about Lamar Jackson. I've been thinking about.
The talk on the internet is to get rid of Greg Roman because of his play calling,
Okay.
to bring in a big name wide receiver,
Right.
and to
Offensive line. I mean, a center who can hike the ball. How about that?
That I'll give you that one.
If we get a guy who can hike the ball, we win the game.
I know, and I'm not seeing enough people about that. And I don't know. Bradley Bozeman was a center in college. I don't know why we don't use him there. I like Bradley Bozeman. I think he's been doing really good.
Right.
I like an offensive lineman that when there's a fumble, he runs and tries to get the ball.
Right.
And we've seen him do that.
No, but Lamar Jackson, I want to make two points here that are important to make.
Yeah.
Yes, point one, he plays worse against better teams. But
Wow.
here's a realization, guys. Better teams with better records are like better teams, right? Like
Yes.
in the playoffs, you're not playing the Bengals. I guarantee if it was a playoff game playing the Bengals this year, we would beat them by 40 points. He wouldn't choke in the playoffs against the Bengals. We're playing
Right.
really good teams.
Why do we always have to play good teams in the playoffs?
Yeah, how come he struggles
Especially-
against good teams? Well, maybe because like good teams are good, right? Like maybe that has to do with it.
And it's the divisional round. It's the second round of playoffs.
Yeah. And the second point, which is related to that, is like we get so, and this is not just a Raven fan, this is everybody gets so like myopically focused on their team. But like, let's zoom out for a second. Did you watch that Saints Bucks game? Two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time did not look great. Drew Brees was terrible.
No.
He was worse than I would argue. He was worse than Lamar Jackson, and
No,
Tom
they got
Brady
their
was
big-
not great. The guy for the Browns, Baker Mayfield, was not great. I mean, the only guy who was great that I feel like that this past week was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Nobody else was great, right? And part of it is because playoffs, the teams are better, defenses are better. By the way, I loved this weekend where defenses, it was all about defenses and interceptions
Right.
and turnovers and big plays by the defense, which is fun to see because we had this offensive narrative going on. So the 2 points are, A, like you're playing better competition, so you're going to play worse. This is across the board. 2, like Lamar Jackson is not unique with struggling against better competition. Like this is how it works. And so, I'm excited about the future because the future is Lamar Jackson and Marquise Brown and J.K. Dobbins. Like I'm excited about the future of this offense.
Right.
And yeah, I think you made the point, Josh, about receivers. Again, like Raven fans, just look around, right? Look around, like who else is in the playoffs? You got the Bills
Yes.
with freaking Diggs.
Every good quarterback has a key wide receiver.
All of them. Look who's in the playoffs at this point. Even the winners and losers of this past weekend, all of them have a big name receiver except for the Ravens. All of them.
Yep. No, exactly. And the Ravens did an excellent job shutting Diggs down. Diggs was not a big factor this weekend. The Ravens defense played extremely well, which made me feel better coming out of this game.
They played great, absolutely.
Because you don't throw that interception on the goal line, and Tucker hits two field goals, and it's a blowout.
Yeah, well, and
flip that around, and it's 23-10.
Yeah. I mean, the Bills didn't have their big plays.
luck.
The Bills' offense was shut down, and I thought Ken McCusick, he mentioned this on Twitter. I thought it was a great point. The wind, right? The wind was really affecting one side of the field, right? It was really affecting going one way, and the third quarter, like the wind was going against us. Like the wind was having a worse effect on us just because the way we're going down the field. So we were kind of just biding our time to fourth quarter, and then we would have the wind with us, and we could play better.
We lost Lamar then, yeah.
But then when he was concussed and fumbled, was the last play of the third quarter where we tried to rush real quick the third quarter play to get one more play in there when we could have let it just the clock run down into the fourth quarter and have the wind with us. And so a huge mistake was rushing in the third quarter, which we shouldn't have been because of the wind, and like why rush in general. But we panicked a little bit, down by 2 scores, and we rushed it. And that's when kind of all the chaos broke loose. And you wonder if we would have waited, taken it to the fourth quarter, how different this game would have been.
McCary said that part of the snap problem was that the Bills crowd was so loud that they had to go to a silent snap. And that was part of the problem, which also tells me this Ravens team has gotten so comfortable this season playing without fans that they never really practiced and worked on a silent count because there was no need for it this season.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Into that, they were not prepared. Forget the weather. They were not prepared for a loud Bills fan.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, home field advantage, we know in football matters a lot. But this year, it really didn't matter all that much because no fans. And at least, you're right, because at least, and McCary has a good point, at least in the regular season, you get prepared for it all year long.
Yes.
But here, if you didn't have it at all year, the fans and the noise making, all of a sudden you have to adjust to that in the playoffs. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Before the game, people kept trying to paint the picture, this year home field doesn't matter. And I thought, when I heard McCary say that, I was like, of course home field mattered because of those fans.
Yeah, and because you never had them in the regular season, even though there's fewer of them, it's kind of amplified because you're not used to it, yeah.
You're not used to it, and with fewer fans, they were able to – I think the fewer fans were able to make more noise because of how they were just hitting and kicking the chairs and banging on everything.
Yeah.
Where when you got a bunch of fans in there, you can't do that quite as much.
Yeah, I mean, and 16,000 fans, like – you're just talking about the diehards. Like it's not just your casual observer going to go in there and hang out.
Right.
Like it is only your diehards who are able to get that ticket.
Ken tried to tell me pre-game earlier in the week that the fans aren't as loud because they all will have to be wearing masks. And I tried to explain to him it's Buffalo in January. Everyone's covering their mouths when it's not COVID.
Yeah,
they're covered with scarves and stuff.
Yeah.
No, and the Bills fans are impressive. The raising over $300,000 for Lamar's charity immediately after the game. It's really cool that the Bills Mafia is getting known for beyond just the stuff we always know for them for their tailgates and their table smashes. That now they're really getting known for raising money for other teams' quarterbacks.
And I'm rooting hard for the Bills. Like
totally. The Bills are
they're freaking likable.
Even going into that game Saturday, I said what sucks about this game is if the Ravens weren't in this game, I'd be rooting for the Bills.
Yeah. Now Josh Allen, he went down a notch in my book with the soft little flop. But I like the Bills a lot, and
yes.
I feel really good. And I saw a video of like Lamar Jackson interacting positively with Bills fans, like signing stuff for them.
Yeah,
that makes me feel good because after the Titans game, there was a lot of bad blood between the Titans and the Ravens. And Titan fans, I had to block a bunch of them on Twitter because how are Titan fans still talking trash when they lost the week before? I don't understand how that works. Like, go home. It's like, stay off Twitter. You lost the week before. You're not allowed to talk trash now about the Ravens. I don't understand that.
Because they were also acting like we're an ugly organization because we stomped on their shield.
Right. And so
they already did it twice to us. And now we did it.
But I didn't know. And like Lamar didn't shake hands after the Titans game.
Yeah.
So I was nervous that maybe we were the jerks. Like I always wonder, are they I know Marcus Peters is a jerk, but like is the Ravens, are we jerks? But then I think the Bills Lamar game and how Lamar acted and how we act, it makes me feel better that we weren't the jerks in the situation.
Lamar's smart. Don't go shake hands. COVID protocols. We got to be healthy for the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, he was shaking hands with Josh Allen and Bills players.
Yeah,
just those Titans. So the Titans were the jerks. I'm just glad we clarified that.
No, and I was
because I was wondering until we played the Bills.
With the Bills game, I thought it was really weird, and I've never paid attention before. But in the Bills game, I saw it pregame a couple of times that the Ravens and that halftime too. The Ravens and Bills would all run into the locker room through the same tunnel at the same time, and I never noticed that. And I was like, could you imagine if the Titans and the Ravens were doing that? I feel like a fight would start.
Yeah, you just notice, you notice stuff in game, Like when someone makes a tackle, the opponent will like pat him on the helmet and stuff.
Yeah, or help them up.
Yeah, and that was happening in the Bills game. There was none of that in the Titans game. No one was giving a friendly pat to the helmet on the opponent in the Titans game, which, again, I like because I like the rivalry. I like to hate other teams. I like to block them on Twitter. I don't want all the teams to be the Bills because then I'm like, no, I want to hate the team I'm beating.
I was explaining to someone last week before this game, and everyone was talking about the Titans and are the Ravens jerks and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, do you like this?" And I was telling them, I love this because it reminds me of fans. Like it makes me. It's why as fans we love that the Ravens build up the Steelers like they're arch enemies.
Yeah, and they legitimately hate them. Yeah, like it's not just talking.
Because that's what we are as fans.
Yeah.
It sucks as fans of the Orioles that we like hate New York, hate Boston, and then like the players don't care.
Well, and even I would argue the Yankee fans and Red Sox fans don't care. We just care.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's a different. Or like the Nationals and fans don't like Baltimore, but the players don't care. And that makes me. What it makes me do is it makes me like, okay, it's not just about the money. You're not out there for a paycheck. You really don't like this team, and it brings it to like the old school playground style of football.
I agree. I like the little hatred in there. And you can't hate everybody, so I think it's good to have a mix of Bills and Titans.
Right, you don't want to be the jerks that the entire country hates.
Yeah,
you don't want to be the Patriots.
Right, or the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Or the Yankees. Everyone hates the Yankees, right?
Yeah, pretty much everyone hates the Yankees. Yeah. Yep. But it's hard because I don't feel like you really get that anger in baseball, except maybe like the Astros. I feel like some of the West Coast teams have really good rivalries and real good hatred in baseball.
Yeah, I don't know. With when Manny was here, there was some good stuff with like the Red Sox. There was some good,
and we had some good Blue Jay stuff with Batista.
Yeah, and I feel like Buck Showalter too was he was kind of into the rivalry, into the digs too.
He was. He would make the comments about New York and Boston.
Yeah.
But even like back in the day when New York and Boston really went at it, they hated each other.
Oh yeah.
And even that has softened. So I'm all for rivalries.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, going forward, Bills.
Yeah. I'm rooting for the Bills, not rooting for Mahomes certainly, and. Yeah.
Now, what's the concussion protocol? There's a chance Mahomes can't play Sunday, right?
Yeah, there's a small chance. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a weird thing, right? It's kind of like COVID, where it's out of his hands, right? Like it's not like, oh, if it's an arm injury, I'll take a shot of whatever, a cortisone shot, and I'll go out there and play with an injury. Like I think it's going to be out of his hands, whether he plays or not. Just like it was out of his hands that he was ruled out for the rest of the game. He can't like tough it up and play. Like it's out of his hands.
Right. Exactly. It's out of they got that third party.
The third party, yeah.
So
all right,
that's all right. Maybe Henny will take him to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Wow. I want to count on it.
No, I don't know.
Anything can happen, but great. I want to count on it.
You trying to run that? Anything can happen.
Well, it's already taken. But isn't that what Patrick Mahomes tweeted? Someone tweeted that.
No. If Patrick Mahomes tweets it, that's perfect. That's good.
Yeah, he tweeted.
Otherwise, it sounds like someone trying to just jump on a T-shirt.
No, while the game was happening, he tweeted something like that. A play on Henny.
He's allowed to be on Twitter during the game?
Yeah, he's just sitting back in the locker room. Sure, why not?
Yeah. That's what I felt bad about, is that Lamar wasn't allowed to come back to the field. That he had to stay in the locker room as part of concussion protocol.
I don't believe the rumors that it wasn't a concussion. He just had to go to the bathroom. I don't believe any of those rumors.
Oh, no. But the Brown game, 100% pooping, because we saw him run to the locker room, same camera angle this time, and it was not the same type of run as he did with the cramps.
He was cramping at the Browns. This was a concussed run.
Whatever.
A concussed run is different from a cramping run, no matter where you're cramping.
I'll give you that, but the runs were definitely different. So, yeah. All right. I think that's some good Ravens coverage.
Going forward, Lamar Jackson extension, you into that?
Yes, as long as it's not let's make him the highest paid quarterback in football. I'm not for that. If I was Lamar, I would say let's not talk extension yet.
Right, because Lamar is getting better. He's on the upswing.
Lamar needs to start going on the upswing, yeah. He needs to really focus on his passing game this offseason. And the type of competitor that Lamar is, I have no reason to believe he won't be. This isn't a Chris Davis situation.
Yeah.
Where he's going to say he's working on it and do nothing.
Well, that's the thing. And even Marquise Brown, Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, they seem like the kind of guys who take a day off and then are back, working out, getting better.
Marquise
Like,
Brown.
I have every confidence that our offensive players are working their tails off. And even our defensive players.
Yes.
Like, I think we have a bunch of, focused,
I love our defense.
hardworking guys who want to get better.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope all our defense comes back. I don't know if you can financially do it and keep Judon and keep Yannick, but I love Peters. I love that Tavon Young is coming back next year. I love Tavon Young, the little bit that we've seen him.
Yeah, I think our secondary is going to be great next year.
Yeah, Marquise Brown irritated me all season, and somehow he stepped up in the playoffs and looked like a wide receiver.
Well, and that's how he looked the year before, too, right?
Balls.
Like, the year before, he looked really good, too. It's just the injury stuff.
Yeah, yes, but I don't know. I didn't see him fight for balls really.
I know you always say that. I don't really understand what you mean, but okay.
It means if the ball isn't before the playoffs, if the ball wasn't thrown perfect to him, he wasn't catching it.
All right.
When you would watch a receiver with Diggs or someone, and you're always amazed at how they can pull in balls. Even Andrews will fight for the ball. He'll go down for the ball. He'll go up for the ball. He'll fight for it. I did not see that from Brown until the playoffs.
Okay.
So, but whatever. Next season, I told you they weren't that. I told you they were a good team, not a great team.
Yeah.
Good teams get into the playoffs. Great teams wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I still disagree with you because I think they were better than the Bills, and they had more yards, time possession, all the stats pointed to them, and I think they were a better team. Honestly, I think they're a better team than the Bills. And I know the Bills are going forward, and they deserved it because they won. But if we play that game again with everyone healthy, I would again pick the Ravens to beat the Bills.
Yeah, no, I agree. Things just didn't fall our way.
I think we would have lost to the Chiefs if Mahomes plays. I don't think if I was again a betting man,
Saturday, yeah,
I would have bet the Chiefs to beat the Ravens in the AFC Championship game, which again says something like, what do the Chiefs have that we don't have? And I think one of the big separators is Tyreek Hill, right? And Mahomes is better than Jackson, certainly, but Tyreek Hill, that game breaker, and Kelsey, right? They have two kind of game breaker receivers, and we have half of one, I feel like. Maybe if you combined Marquise Brown and Andrews, it equals one guy, but they have two of those guys.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Speaking of betting, I've lost a whole bunch of money on my bookie this weekend, thanks to the Ravens and the Saints.
Yeah, I made up for it with the Bucks.
I did good for the Browns.
Yeah,
because I took the points.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk some Orioles.
Okay.
Let's get in the Orioles talk.
It's baseball. 30 days until pitchers and catchers report.
And they're reporting on time, right?
Yeah. I saw there was some football team, Manchester or one of those over in one of those European leagues, where they're getting they got a lot of people angry because the entire soccer team got vaccinated before the town. And the guy tried to spin it. Well, no, we vaccinated the football team so that everyone would feel comfortable and safe, and to build up demand for the vaccine because people were scared of the vaccine. So we've used the soccer players to prove that the vaccine is good.
Yeah.
So now I'm calling on Major League Baseball, do the same thing in America.
Well,
let's vaccinate all these players so that we all feel comfortable with it.
Well, there's all these stories, Josh. I don't know if you heard these. Yeah, you've heard these. We talked a little bit about this, but I think when we hung out, but I just heard it on a local Facebook, Centerville, residents of Centerville here in the Eastern Shore Facebook group, where they said at the fire station they're giving out the vaccines, but there were just people hanging out after the vaccine time was over, and they weren't eligible for the vaccine because they didn't qualify in that 1A category to get the vaccine, but they had a bunch of leftovers, and they were just shooting people up with the vaccine. So I think just Oriole players need to hang around like around 5 o'clock, around vaccine locations. If there's any left
yeah.
over, just kind of sneak in there at the end.
Yeah, Orioles right up here at the Publix, right down the street. You can sign up and get it if you're old. But if you're not, just hang out around 9 o'clock. That's when Publix pharmacy closes, I believe.
Yeah,
might be 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and get rid of all the extras that they can't keep. No. But if you're Mike Elias, are you trying to find out ways to get your players vaccinated real quick on the down low? Is that part of Mike Elias's job description?
I don't know. Are you more likely to get players vaccinated or find some contaminated stuff and send it to Chris Davis?
See, I was going a different route with it. Like, you think they're looking into signing Bartolo Colon because he's eligible because his age bracket, he'll be eligible for everybody else for the vaccine. So at least he'll be able to pitch for you, even if other players can't because they're too old.
Yeah, I don't know.
But no, the Orioles had a landmark, a franchise record day in terms of international signings, Josh. So we have to talk about this. We knew when we signed players. Mike Elias, this day was coming. And today was that day where we kind of had our first kind of big international market free agent signings. So props to the Orioles. I think the headlines was the catcher Samuel Basolo from the Dominican Republic. He's 16 years old. And the other highlight, the other guy we paid over $1 million for was shortstop Nicole Hernandez from Venezuela. Again, 17 years old, 6'4".
And that's what stood out to me is most of these guys were born in 2004. 2004, 2003, we're looking at a bunch of 16, 17-year-old kids.
Yeah, there was one veteran signed from Venezuela who was 19, but the rest were...
Gabriel Salazar.
Yeah.
Salazar.
Yeah, but the rest were 16 and 17. Josh, did you just want to run through the list and, say all the names of people we signed?
As soon as I said that Salazar, I realized in my head, I should have practiced these names because Matt's going to ask me to read the list.
I mean, I just announced Basolo and Hernandez. You want to take it from there?
Yeah, sure.
Just real quick, just run through the names for us.
All right. Catchers, Samuel Basola. Catcher, Yasmiel Boucher. Shortstop, Erevil Castillo. Shortstop, Victor Celedonio. Outfield, that's a tough one. Tudis Cortoril. Left-handed pitcher, D.V. Cruz. Shortstop, Anderson de los Santos. Outfield, Wilmer Feliciano. Shortstop, McCall Hernandez. Outfield, Hector Jimenez. Outfield, Junior Lara. That's an easy one. Catcher, Anudis Morden. Outfield, Angel Pena. Left-hand pitcher, Elvis Polenko. Catcher, Carlos Rodriguez. Outfield, Gabriel Salazar. Shortstop, Angel Tejada. I think I did pretty good on those.
Yeah.
Pronunciations.
The Orioles, you can follow Josh at Josh Roca if you're looking for a new baseball announcer. Maybe he could even announce your.
How do you say angel? When you pronounce like that G's pronounced like an H or something.
Yeah, I think you go Angel or Angel. I think either one's acceptable.
I think Angel's wrong.
Okay. Well, Josh, I think Angel being wrong is the least of your problems, but okay.
Whatever. I did excellent at that job.
Okay.
For my first time reading the list, I'm very proud of the way I read through those. A bunch of Dominican Republicans and Venezuelans.
Yeah, 4 Venezuelans, and I think, was it 12 people from the Dominican Republic?
13.
Okay, so 17 total.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a bunch of shortstops, outfielders, and catchers, and a few pitchers. Are you surprised how many catchers we took? Or is it these guys are 16, so they're going to be up in the majors when Rushman retires?
Yeah, and I think those positions mean very little at this point, right? Like, how much does a position matter to a 16-year-old? right? Like
Good point. Good point. A lot of times wasn't like Adam Jones I think
shortstop.
was a shortstop, right? When we signed him and then moved him to the
So
outfield.
was Ryan Mountcastle. Yeah, like a bunch of them were shortstops. So was Michael Givens.
Yeah. Yep. You're right.
But
Because
as far as
in high school ball, your best players are pitchers and shortstops.
Sure. And as far as just the top prospects internationally, the only guy to make on the top 30 was Hernandez, who we signed for $1.22 million. He was the only guy on the top 30 list. But certainly, I mean, we signed a guy for $1.3 million, Salo the catcher. So certainly there's other guys up there. But I don't know. I always find this a little bit, and I think my opinion is Peter Angelos did not participate in the international market. A, because he's cheap. B, because I find it a little bit cringeworthy, kind of like college recruiting when you're recruiting 15-year-olds out of high school. Like, it's just a little bit cringeworthy to be drafting or to be signing. It's not even drafting, it's signing 16-year-olds. Like, I think there needs to be a better way to do this. I find it cringeworthy, but I understand the need to do this to be a competitive team.
Yeah, I mean, but it's how baseball is set up. You don't see it in football and stuff because of college.
Yeah.
So college is that minor league team. Baseball also has the international camps and stuff, and it's the only way because I don't think you have. I don't know in international I don't think you have as many like high school leagues. I think you have in order to have these organized teams in baseball for high schoolers. They are funded by Major League Baseball teams. Right.
And so on the one hand, I'm like, well, just have a draft, and that would be kind of more fair for other teams and maybe better for the players. But then, like, this shortstop, Hernandez, who got $1.2 million, if he was drafted, he probably wouldn't get $1.2 million. So maybe it's, maybe it's better for some of these players because he's not getting a contract for $1.2 million at 17 years old. But when you do it like this, it's more like free agency where you pay guys kind of what they're worth. But isn't that so hard, though, Josh, that you're looking at 16-year-olds and deciding who gets $100,000, who gets $1.5 million at 16? It just I find it kind of crazy.
Could you imagine at 16 years old bringing in more money than your dad has made your entire life, basically?
Yeah.
If you're getting this $1.3 million in American dollars versus whatever your parents are in Venezuela or Dominican Republic. I keep adding that N, the Dominican Republic. Like $1.3 million has to be more than the parents made their entire life.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's a crazy number.
Sure, yeah, it's an insane number at 16. And, I mean, it's hard to project. I mean, you look at the top 100 prospects and how many of those guys don't work out. Even that are top 100. And here you have 16-year-olds who haven't played any minor league ball and are 16. It's just, you don't know how tall they're going to go. You don't know how hard they're going to throw. It's crazy to me that players get signed at that age.
Why are so many baseball players, what makes those baseball players so much better there in Latin America than growing up in Baltimore or Chicago? Is it the focus? Is it that that's all they do? Like, why are you not moving to Venezuela to raise Silas in Venezuela as a baseball player?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because
like
if I wanted, and I could put him in some, baseball camp at 5 and 6 and raise him around the game. But there's more Americans in baseball than there are Latin American players.
I guess. I guess you're going to see that.
I think there's like a third of Latin American players, but there's more Americans than Latin American players.
Okay. All right. So I guess, and you're right. And what we do is, we look at it as, all these players come from the Dominican Republic. And it'd be like, all these other people come from America. But instead, we group them all as one country. Instead of, if it's America, they're all divided up to different colleges or baseball camps. And, if Silas is if you find Silas is really good, has that left-handed fastball coming in, there's the right camps and instructors that you send him to get the attention in America.
But you're right. In Venezuela, he could have the chance of signing at 16 for $1.6 million. He can't do that in America.
Nope. Labor laws, I assume, right?
Yeah, well, I think rules against baseball, right? You can't.
Yeah.
I think you have to go. I don't know. I think there has to be to enter the draft. You have to be. So maybe if he's a stud at 12, I should send him somewhere else.
Right. I mean, yeah. Have you watched the? You have to be 17 years old to enter the MLB draft. Is the rule. So basically, you got to be like your senior year of high school.
Right. Right.
So I mean, yeah. And you could.
But even then,
yeah, if he's a stud, sure.
But even then, I just think that the money wise, right? Like you might go undrafted in the major league draft, but you might be signed internationally for $200,000 just because that's the only way to get him.
Right.
So
good point. Yes, you're right. You're right. So
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe looking to move in.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's based on what I see from Sass thus far. I don't think it's a thing we're gonna have to worry about.
All right. Well, the other good news for the Orioles this week is today the Baseball America came out with their top 100 prospects, and the Orioles had 5 in the top 100. That's exciting for our farm system. Number 2 overall was Adley Rutschman, which is, of course, to be expected that he's high, but to have him as number 2 in baseball is exciting. The guy above him was Wander Franco, a shortstop for the Rays, who was the number 1 prospect last year. Let's see, we had Grayson Rodriguez come in at number 22, so good pitching prospects coming up. D.L. Hall at 59, another good pitching. Kerstead came in at 62nd, which is pretty impressive, I guess, considering he was drafted last year and hasn't played in the minors yet.
Yeah, can I say something about him, though, Josh?
Yeah. Well, and
yeah, go ahead.
And then I've got thoughts about the guy right behind him, too. Number 63.
Okay, because Kerstead, and I think this is right. That he was taken 2 overall. But if you look at the top, and right now he is what number is he?
Kerstead is number 62.
Okay, I'm looking at MLB Pipeline because this is what I have access to, and they updated their rankings too.
Yes, Baseball America is a paid thing,
and you know I'm not about that. So, but Kerstead is 55 here in MLB Pipeline, so a little bit better.
Okay.
But there's still
probably because they probably took some people off that have already made their major league debut.
Maybe I don't know how it works.
Like on Baseball America, number 63 is Ryan Mountcastle.
Right, and Ryan Mountcastle, I think he's in the top 100 in this one too.
Yeah, in my head, I've moved Ryan Mountcastle off the prospect
he's number
list.
90 here. But
Okay.
the Kerstead thing, I just want to point this out, and I'm going through the names right now, and I think this is right, that there are 6 players from the 2020 draft who are ranked higher than Kerstead. So even though Kerstead went number 2 overall, there's 6 guys that are ranked higher than him from the 2020 draft.
Okay.
So
that's disappointing. You're saying that without a season, somehow all these guys that were drafted behind him are still projected ahead of him.
Well, and this should not really come as a surprise because Kerstead was not the second ranked player on the board, right? Like he was not projected to go number 2. It surprised everybody that Kerstead went number 2, and so baseball still thinks that he is the 7th best player from the 2020 draft, even though we took him 2 overall. So it's just something to watch. By the way, nothing to watch when you're comparing players. So I'm watching Kerstead compared to some other guys. I'm not really comparing him to the number 1 overall pick, Spencer Torkelson, who's number 4 overall. But I'm comparing him to guys like Austin Martin, right, who was taken by the Blue Jays, 16th overall. Yeah. And I think like Asa Lacy is another guy that was, and Max Meyer and Nick Gonzalez. So kind of comparing him to other guys taking this draft class. But the other comparison is Adley Rutschman and Bobby Witt Jr., who of course was the 1-2 options.
Right, and Bobby Witt got the excitement this week for the Happy Gilmore baseball swing.
Yeah, and he's number 8 on MLB Pipeline compared to Adley Rutschman's number 2.
Oh, that's a good move, Orioles.
Yeah, I mean, but Bobby Witt's still 2 years younger than Adley Rutschman. Remember, he was a high school player, where Rutschman was a college player. So just something to watch going forward.
And that's to be projected, and that's why Yeah, Bobby Witt will never pass Adley Rutschman in the prospect list because Adley Rutschman will make his premiere before. You would hope. If Witt passes Adley Rutschman in the prospect list, then the plan has failed for Adley Rutschman because it would mean he is then going down in the prospect list.
Right. And I don't know how long. And you brought up the issue with Ryan Mountcastle. I don't know. Ryan Mountcastle still has rookie status. So I think, is that how it's determined? If you still have rookie status,
Yes.
You're still considered a prospect?
Right. Right, because he's still rookie status, so he might not even make the team this year. He might go back to Norfolk or something, you know?
Yeah. No, that won't happen. But yeah, it's possible.
I don't think it will happen. You're right. But yeah, 30 days. You getting excited?
Yeah, just talking about the prospect list too. Just a couple of things. Grayson Rodriguez. He's kind of had a couple years ago. He was our overall 5th ranked prospect. He has had a cool rise up our own prospect board and up the top 100 list. Like, that's been watching Grayson Rodriguez kind of climb the prospect boards is something really cool. When he was first drafted, even a couple years ago, he was not considered a top of the rotation starter. But now people are talking about him as a number 1 starter. He's listed as one of the best right-handed pitchers in baseball. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And then just after the top 100, we got the top 5, Rutschman, Rodriguez, Kerstedt, Hall, and Mountcastle, all in the top 100. Our next highest rated prospect is Gunnar Henderson, who's a 19-year-old shortstop. He's a shortstop now. We'll see. But he seems to me very close to that top 100 list too. So that could be a guy next year to watch out for. Everyone's been saying in the offseason, whatever, everyone's saying this kid looks awesome. So I think Gunnar Henderson is a name to watch out. A guy that could pop in that top 100. Ryan Mountcastle, I feel like, has been on and off the top 100 list. He's kind of weird. But Gunnar Henderson, I think, is a guy next year who could be on that top 100 list. Also, just last point about the top 100 list, Yusniel Diaz, who I expect to see in an Orioles uniform this year playing in the majors,
Right.
was 2 years ago was our number 1 overall prospect and a top 100 prospect just 2 years ago, and now he's a number 8 overall prospect. So Yusniel Diaz is a guy that has fallen off the top 100 list, and now he's 24 years old, right? He's a little bit older, but a guy who has that kind of top 100 potential. So he's another guy to watch this year. And this will be his last year on the prospect list at number 8, but he certainly could be a big contributor to the Orioles. So another name to watch.
Yeah, and that's something that I don't know as he moves back there. And does that mean he's been a disappointment? But we really just got to wait. All these guys, you really don't know what you got until they get to the majors anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We've had the last time we had a number 2 prospect overall in all of baseball. Do you know who it was?
Matt Wieters.
No, we had one after that.
Who did we have after Matt Wieters? Machado? Machado was after Wieters, right? Yeah.
Oh, but he was never that high. Machado was never number 2 overall.
Okay.
Which is more evidence.
Right, who was number?
Dylan Bundy.
Dylan Bundy.
Yeah, Dylan Bundy.
Yeah.
And then before that, Matt Wieters was a number
right.
1 overall prospect at one point. And then before that, Ben McDonald. All that to say.
Right, back in the 90s.
Yeah, Ben McDonald, Matt Wieters, Dylan Bundy. It doesn't, being a 1 or 2 overall prospect doesn't mean a Hall of Fame career. Now, you could argue that Wieters had a really good career. I would argue that, but not Hall of Famer. Again, Bundy, I think the jury's still out a little bit, but did not live up to expectations. So you hope that Rutschman turns out better than McDonald, Wieters, and Bundy, right?
Yeah, all guys who had fine careers, but we want a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, McDonald had the injury stuff. Matt Wieters was, had some All-Star years, was really good, but never lived up to the hype. And Bundy, again, a ton of injury issues with Bundy as well, and might now be coming into his own with the Angels. I think that story still has to be told.
Yeah, but hey, the Orioles also re-signed Tom Eshelman this week.
They did their big signing.
Yeah. Yep. So we got that to deal with.
Yeah.
Is it time to reprint our shirts and change our pronouncement to World Series 2027? As that's what Major League Baseball came out and predicted this week, that the Orioles will win it in 27.
So 27. So that's 6 years. Okay, so
Yeah.
Adley Rushman will be 28 years old, kind of in his prime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the veteran leader. Adley
Rodriguez
Rushman.
will be 27. Hall will be 28. Okay. Mountcastle,
They'll all be
29.
coming. 27 sounds pretty good. My problem is I think we win it with them young too, and we start to build a little dynasty.
Yeah, we're going
I'm
for
not
the
here for one
three-peat
and
in
done.
27. Yeah, I'm with you.
Right. So I'm sticking with the 2023. I would, if someone wanted to go 2024, I wouldn't argue because I think COVID could push it back a year, but I'm going to stick with the 2023 and be positive.
Yeah. I mean, I think this year we'll have a lot to say as far as how I'm feeling about the 2023 prediction.
Totally. Right. Because the goal, right, it's supposed to be okay this year. Next year, win games and have a win-in record. And then 2023, fight in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, if I see this year, like that Dean Kramer is legit, and what Dean Kramer did the end of last year is like he is, a number 3 starter. And if I see that Ryan Mountcastle, is legit kind of all-star, whatever you have him, first base, left field, DH. And if we see Adley Rushman come up here and be good, and if we see in AA and AAA, Grayson Rodriguez and DL Hall dominate like I think they will, then all that will make me feel good about. And if we see Santander, build on what he did last year, all that will make me feel good about the 2020. Like there's been nothing that has made me say, oh no, our team is not improving like I thought we would improve. Like I feel like we're right on track, and Elias is right on track. The other thing that we have to wait and see is this has been a very quiet off season, and Elias is not trying to sign anybody.
No, just Padres and Yankees are signing everyone.
Yeah, but how quick will Elias be to pull that switch and start actually, going out there and signing players? Like when next year, like
Right.
if he sees us win 80 games, like, oh man, I got DL Hall, Grayson Rodriguez coming next year. We won 80 games this year. We're pulling the switch and we're going to go for it next year. Or is he going to be like, no, this team has to get kind of like 90 wins on their own before I try to sign anybody to put us over the hump? So I think how quickly, because with these contracts, you got a pretty big window here with Rushman and Rodriguez and Hall and Mountcastle and all these guys. So how quick will Elias be to pull the trigger and really kind of go all in is going to be something to watch for as well.
Yeah, I'm still holding out hope that the Orioles sign Trevor Bauer to a 3-year deal.
Okay.
This year.
Good. Hope that, Josh. Hope that.
I'm hoping.
Hey, are you concerned? I mean, we can't even come to terms with our OMVP, our Orioles' most valuable player, Anthony Santander. He's the only guy we couldn't reach arbitration with, or avoid arbitration, I'm sorry. So we're going to arbitration with them. Are you at all concerned? I think we were like 100,000 apart and we couldn't make a deal. Does that concern you at all, Josh?
No. I mean, the Orioles are being cheap, just giving the 100,000. I think it's hilarious that people were excited that we came to terms with Trey Mancini. It's like, of course we came to terms. There was no discussion. It was
the same deal.
You didn't improve or you didn't do anything last year. We'll give you the same deal. Like it was the most obvious thing.
Yeah, and I don't think the Orioles are being cheap at all. I think this is Elias, that's the follow and go. Like you have your number, you put it in there. If you don't want to sign for that number, all right, but then we go to arbitration. I think you can't do this every time. You can't do. Here's my offer. Oh, you just want 100,000 more? Okay, I'll give it to you. Because then what? You do this to every single player, every single time for arbitration? No, you can't do this. You have your number in mind. You say like I think this is a fair offer, and this is the whole purpose of arbitration. If you disagree, then take it to arbitration. I don't think it's anyone being cheap. I think it's a process.
And people act like going to arbitration is like they're going to court and suing each other. It's no, you're going to a third party to say, what am I worth? Yeah,
even Rock Kubako mentioned in the article, like this could, the danger is that there could be some animosity here based on arbitration hearings. No, it's a bunch of lawyers in a room talking about it, and then a judge decides. It's not that serious.
Yeah. No, it's I think I'm worth this much. Orioles say, I think you're worth this much. And the judge says, all right, let's split it in the middle. Or no, you're right. Orioles are trying to lowball. It's to protect the player and protect the team. It's fine.
Josh, I thought that's how it works. I thought it was Brandon Hyde going in there saying how much Santander sucks and why he shouldn't get paid. I thought that's what it was. No, that's not what it is?
No, if that was what it was, then the Orioles would have signed Nestor years ago.
Yeah. To be their arbitration lawyer?
to be your going in there and tell Manny Machado why he sucks.
Yeah. No, like it's not. Yeah, it's part of the game. There's a bunch of players going arbitration. It's fine. It happens.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
MLB
it
The
is what
Show,
happens.
I take everyone to arbitration. I take them all.
Yeah, and that's just like real life.
Well, the Orioles have a reputation. I think they're 11-2 in their last 13
Yes.
arbitration hearings, so they usually win those things.
Well, they got good lawyers. As long as it gets worked out before spring training, it only irritates me if it drags into spring
Well,
training.
and honestly, Josh, like there's a reason the Orioles always win because, like Mike Elias and other general managers, not just Mike Elias, so general managers, like they have guys who do the math. Like they know how much Santander's supposed to make based on last year. Like, it's a lot of complicated math, but they know what that number is. And Santander's agent, I think, is probably not as good as it is as Orioles are, because Orioles have a bunch of people who do this for a living, and so
Right.
that's I think why the team usually wins is because the team knows.
Yeah, well, put it into like a real life. When I go and ask my boss for a raise, I always think I deserve that
Sure.
raise.
Yeah.
My boss can look at the numbers and see what type of revenue I made, how I affected the company.
How you relate to other employees.
and what the company can afford to pay me.
Right.
They know how all that works and what money I'm making compared to other players. But I'll still, no matter what, always expect more money.
Right.
I'll always ask for a raise because that's what I want. It doesn't mean I always get it.
Right. Yeah, and this year was also, and I don't know how to do the math this year because all the numbers are funky this year, right?
Right, and that's going to be part of the Orioles' argument is, hey, it was a shortened season. You were injured for half of it. It's hard for us to really give you that much of an increase based on a short
Where
stint.
Santander would probably project, oh, listen, if I did this a whole year, I put up these
Exactly.
insane numbers, and yeah. So it actually makes a lot of sense that Santander's the guy they couldn't move on because he had the most improvements in a short kind of window there.
Right, you're right. He did. And he's the guy who, as fans, we're excited for because of that improvement. Because as fans, we project, oh, if he can do that for the whole year, that's awesome.
Yeah, and if he does that for the whole year, next year his arbitration number will go up a lot, and he's going to make a good amount of money. And so Elias will probably trade
at that point, he'll deserve it, and the Orioles will pay him.
and then they'll trade him to save money.
Maybe. We'll see. I hope not. You see, there's a new number 2. Rio Ruiz has switched his number to number 2, upsetting Oriole fans who are hooked on J.J. Hardy.
Oh, wow. Do we still hold a special place for J.J. Hardy?
I don't care about J.J.
Well,
Hardy.
I don't care about Ruiz. Well, I think Ruiz is kind of a bum.
Exactly. I don't care about
So, I'm actually offended by it now that you mentioned it, that Ruiz, this bum, is taking Hardy's number.
You know, my Soroka jersey is number 2.
Oh, so you're taking Hardy's number.
Because when I signed up for the jersey, I completely forgot about Hardy. And I just tried to pick a player that like the number wasn't attached to a player, and I didn't even think about Hardy when I grabbed the jersey. So I don't care.
Well, now you're upsetting Ruiz. Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not a huge player number jersey guy.
No, don't take number 8, number 5, 22, 20.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
take
the Hall of
those.
Famers. Yeah, don't touch the
They're
Hall
all
of Famers.
retired. Don't take number 7.
Yeah.
Don't take
33.
Number 3.
Yeah, don't take the Hall of Famers.
Yeah. So outside of it's like when people, did anyone take 10 yet? Give 10 away.
How long do you have to wait to
Give
give
10
10 away again?
Give 10 away. It's just like 2. People or 1. People were all sensitive about 1, and Cedric Mullins wanting 1 because of Brian Roberts.
Right.
Give 10. No one's 10 yet. This is the year to give 10 away. This is the year as Oriole fans. It's 2021. It's time to forget Adam Jones.
Ooh.
To put him behind you.
Oh my gosh, Josh, he's
move
not
on.
dead. He's just in Japan. Chill.
Right. Move on. We have young guys to be excited for. Move on.
Who do you want number 10
And
to
let's
be?
Forget it.
You using now Diaz to be number 10? Brian McKenna to be number 10?
No, I would give it. What's Austin Hayes' number?
21?
Oh, I like 21 on Austin Hayes.
Yeah, that's a good number.
Yeah. Whoever you give 10 to, low numbers, you got to have guys that are going to stick around.
Yeah. Do you know
It's
who I want?
embarrassing.
I want 10 to be. I want give it to like Travis Lakins or something. Give it to that new guy we just signed, Ashton Godot or something.
See, that's when it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing if you give a low number to a guy who's like one and done or doesn't play the whole season.
Yeah.
That's what Cedric Mullins, thankfully he came back, but if Cedric Mullins disappeared after that one season or half a season, then that would have been a shame to give him number one.
You know who's number one now. It's not
Mullins.
It's not Mullins. I know what number one is. No, number one is because it's Richie Martin is number one.
Oh, is that? So I was thinking Mullins, but it's Richie Martin. Yeah, that's an embarrassment.
Oh, our future shortstop?
I mean, for right now, that's an embarrassment. Oh, give 10 to Santander. Say we won't give you this extra money, but we'll give you number 10.
It's got to be a young guy. He's already got a number. He's 25. He's already got a number. It's got to be a guy without a number. So it's got to be using now Diaz doesn't have a number yet.
How about Rushman?
Yeah.
Let's bring Rushman up with number 10.
Yeah, well, he's been, I think, number 19.
I like 19. See, I like 19 too.
That's what it was in Delmarva.
See, 19. I think Ben McDonald.
Yeah. I'm okay with the 2-digit for Rutschman.
Yeah. Here's my only thing is give the kids your superstars like Rushman and stuff. Make sure that whatever number you give them, they want. So that we don't have this Oriole jersey at number 19. Then year 2, if you buy Rushman, it's whatever. Galsman switched his jersey number between year 1 and year 2, which irritated a bunch of people.
Yeah, well, I remember Zach Britton, the funny story that he told. I forget the exact story, but he tried to tell Buck Showalter that he wanted a new number or something, and Buck Showalter just said, "Be happy you're on the team, son." Yes,
yeah, and that's why he got number 54,
53, I think it was. Yeah.
53. So, I mean, Wieters, you think of Wieters, it was one of our top draft picks coming up, and he got stuck with number 32.
Well, you think about it, maybe it's different from big name rookies, but for like most rookies, you're not going in there like demanding numbers. Like you're just happy to make the team. Like Adley Rutschman's going to be happy to be called up. Oh, what's available? He's not going to be saying, nah. Like I know someone's wearing it, but I want 10.
True. No, you're right, and that's why it's always fun when like random pitchers, especially bullpen pitchers, are always like 67 or something.
Oh, by the way, I was just thinking Adley Rutschman, and I could be wrong on this. I'm just talking top of my head. I don't have it pulled up. I don't know, but I think Adley Rutschman was 19 because I have the jersey from Delmarva.
You sure that wasn't for the year he was drafted?
No, but but for Rutschman, by the way, I want to get a jersey from each level. So I was hoping to get a jersey from Frederick Keys and Bowie. Can't do Frederick Keys anymore, but maybe a jersey from Bowie as well. But Chris Davis is number 19 for the Orioles. Is there going to be a fight between if Rutschman is 19, if that's true, and I'm not making that up? Perhaps there'll be a fight with Chris Davis. In that case, my money's on Chris Davis.
I don't think he's 19 because he was 35 at Oregon.
Okay.
And 35 he could keep. I don't think there's anyone that's 35, and that's. I feel like 35 he could make it through it.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I could be wrong. Yeah, I was trying to look up. I just searched Adley Rutschman.
Oh yeah, 37.
To try to see.
Is that what he was in the? I don't know why I had 19 in my head.
35.
Okay, at Delmarva he was 37. I just looked up the replica jersey.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know why I had 19 in my head, but 37's the number. Maybe because I'm hoping he becomes as good as Chris Davis, who's 19. But no, Adley Rutschman was 37, so he can keep that number.
Yeah, and when Adley Rutschman came to spring training last year, he wore 76.
Okay.
So
disrespectful.
His number will be figured out. Yeah, that was a clear. You're not making the team. You're just here to help.
He was what number in college? 35.
35. Which is a good number. I like 35 behind the plate.
Yeah, a little Mike Messina action.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do it that one. Maybe there's some guy who had 35 already.
Yeah, and Delmarva. And he said, I'm just here for the minors. Don't care.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Are we ready to wrap this thing up? We're feeling good about the Orioles, though. We got spring training starts soon. We got a bunch of draft picks. A bunch of top 100 prospects. We're tied with a bunch of other teams with the most top 100 prospects in baseball.
I keep telling people, and I talk about this on Film Study at the end when I plug 336, now's the time to get on board because the Orioles are going to be fun from this point on.
Yeah, there's going to be young players to talk about. Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of young players to talk about coming right now and a bunch of young players on the verge of being here, but there's young players here already.
Yeah, exactly. Jump on now so you get to know these young players because it's going to be really fun in a few years.
Yeah, even right now, there's about 7, 8, 9 players who are going to be on the World Series team. So
I hope. yeah, you're right. I hope that minor league baseball can have fans this year because there's so many young guys that would be fun to go see.
Oh, yeah. I've already literally bought my tickets, so I hope so.
Yep. Yeah, I know you did. It's exciting.
All right. Well, guys, hop on. Yeah, hop on to the Orioles bandwagon. The Raven season is done. Put it to bed. We'll talk about it more when draft gets around here. But for now, this is, back to Orioles only podcast.
Yeah. No, tell your friends. Share Section 336. I finally fixed our link in Spotify. New episodes have not gone in Spotify since like September. So if you subscribe in Spotify and you've been thinking we've had 4 months off or whatever, Spotify's been broken and I finally got it fixed. Finally got through to Spotify tech support this week and got it straightened out.
Okay.
So tell people about the show.
Yeah.
Spread the word.
Spread the word.
5 stars.
Yeah, go to iTunes, write us a 5-star review. We appreciate that. Appreciate your support.
Check out the new website.
Yep. Do the Patreon thing. Appreciate your coconuts. You can follow us on Twitter. The show Twitter is Section 336 Show for all show updates. You can also follow me on Twitter at Section 336 and follow Josh on Twitter
at Josh Soroka.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go O's and go Bills.